What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott, and as you can see by the title below, we're going to talk about how to get a man to invest 3 times as much as he's doing right now. Or maybe he's not investing at all and you just want him to do a little, okay? So, jumping right into this, I first want to start off with a concept on why men stop investing, okay? If you have a guy you're talking to where for a while things were going well and then it fell off, there's usually 2 reasons why. And everyone knows the first reason, which is basically a guy like taking you for granted, okay? You're showing all these signs that a guy has you hooked, that you're really interested, that you're not talking to anybody else, whatever it is. You're doing something and he's taking you for granted. Maybe you're just too nice, too sweet, too loving, too caring, too kind, and a guy sees this as an opportunity to save on resources, okay? Now, the second thing, and this kind of goes along with it, but I want to have it to do more with the pace of it because that's easier to kind of measure. You could tell yourself, oh man, I'm going a little too fast, or maybe this is a little too much, or maybe I shouldn't be doing this, and things like that. And that is, I guess the second thing is that a man will always invest less, or I guess not court you as much when your IOIs, meaning the indicators of interest, signs you're interested in him and solely him, are faster or stronger than the pace at which you guys are going. So let me give you an example of this. There's a reason why guys love bomb you, ladies, okay? Men just don't love bomb you to love bomb you. There's a strategy behind it. And I do think there's 2 main strategies. One's like subconsciously and the other one is intentionally. The subconscious one is insecurity, emotionally unavailable type of men. There are a lot of men who are trying to fill a void and they want the validation from a woman, so they kind of overdo it or overstep what they should be doing to get that validation quickly from a woman. And then, of course, the second way, which is what I'm talking about here, which is, a guy knows, okay, what he's doing. He's trying to love bomb you to get those IOIs faster from you, so he knows, okay, this is where she stands. This is where she stands. I don't have to work as hard because now I know her interest. She revealed her cards type of thing. So I explain to a lot of my clients, like there's this this step or roadmap, I guess you could call it, where a man and a woman start off like meeting, okay? Then, they agree to the frame, like, okay, this is courtship, and then the guy courts her, then they have sex, and then it's, them dating after sex, and then it's relationship, right? Hopefully you can keep that in track, or keep track of that. It's kind of like self-explanatory, unfolds naturally, right? Basically, meeting to relationship, And I always tell my clients that when one of the sexes have power, they want to slow that area down and the other sex wants to speed it up, and vice versa. So when a woman has power, which is during the courtship stage, right? The framing and courtship, when a guy agrees, hey, yeah, I'm on the same page as you, let's fucking do this, okay? And then he starts courting you. He has less power than you. You have power because you're the one who makes the final decision. You're the one who says, okay, let's do this. And you have obviously the key to the kingdom down there, which is sex and things like that. So a guy has a little less power, but the strategy a guy comes up with to try to prevent risk of like investing heavily in a woman being like, never mind, is speeding it up, right? So a man will speed it up and a woman will slow it down. Because she wants to take advantage of that fact, and vice versa. When a woman finally sleeps with a man, right now she loses power because now she's handing over the keys to the guy, and the guy now wants to slow it down. Between like sex and relationship, he wants to be in this middle area, which is, hey, I like this. Let's just slowly get there. Let's see what happens. This is fun. And a woman's like, well, I want to avoid risk also. I don't want to just give it to you. Then you're like going out and having fun. So she tries to speed it up. So the way to get a man to invest more into you, ladies, is you have to slow it down and you have to be very particular with the IOIs that you, again, indicators of interest, the signs that you like a guy, with the type of IOIs you give him. So I always tell a woman, I guess here's some like rule of thumbs, like guidelines, never do more than the man's doing. Never, ever, ever do more than the man's doing. I always say there's nothing wrong with reaching out to a guy. There's nothing wrong with asking to see a guy, but he needs to be doing it a lot more than you do. Another thing, obviously, is if he's trying to speed it up, that is a sign for you to slow it down. Okay? Just don't go along with it. Women will tell me all the time, oh, I love when men take lead, or I love a man who's masculine, he provides and he does this, and he does that. Elliot, this guy's taking me on dates, this guy's paying for him. Great. That doesn't mean sleep with him on the second date or the third date. You gotta slow it down. This is your time, ladies. The courtship stage. It's not just about seeing if we are compatible, okay? It's your time to look at his resume. It's your time to do your infiltration and I call it your detective work, right? Your intel, and to figure out if he's a decent guy. You want to see if a guy can consistently invest his resources into you over time. And if you're talking to a guy who's not even doing that, then you got to slow it down and eventually cut it off and pull away. There has to be, again, I talk about this in other videos, but if you're watching this and you're like, okay, Elliot, but he's not even investing in me and I want him to invest in me. That's not how it works. A guy has to choose to invest in you and you have to allow him. You're allowing him, he's just not doing it, right? Keep that in mind. You're allowing him, he's just not doing it. So you just gotta rip that contract up basically and say, hey, I'm not about this, dude. Like if he comes back around, let's say, and you know, tries to sweet talk you, oh, hey baby, hey this, hey that. It's like, nah, bro, like I'm all about it, cool. But I'm not about the inconsistency. I like consistency. The last guy was like that, and I told him to take a hike. I'm not about it anymore, right? You got to let him know in some way, and if he agrees to it, great. Then you get back on that path that roadmap I explained. If not, you got to let the guy go. You can't just sit there and the guy can grab the keys from you when he wants and take control and do that's not how it works. Again, that goes back to what I said about the 2 reasons why a guy is investing less. He's taking you for granted. You already got to that stage where he's taking you for granted, okay? So you want to always slow it down and make a man work for it. A man, it should only progress forward, ladies. I guess here's another thing. It should only progress forward if a man is working towards it progressing, okay? That means, okay, cool, you've been on 4 or 5 dates. If you're not, that's way different. Frequency is way different than progressing. I can know you just as well on 4 dates as 1 date. It all just depends on the questions and the vibe and the consistency and the atmosphere and the, whatever, the rapport, like the questions I'm asking, things like that. There's a lot of clients who come to me and they're like, Elliot, you're right. We're on 6 dates, but I don't feel like it's progressing. Exactly. There's a big difference. A guy has to consistently invest his resources, time, energy, effort, money, to progress the relationship, to build that rapport, that depth. And you have to fill it, ladies. It's a filling thing. Okay? But to sum all this up, because people in the comments are always like, wait, what, and it's my fault, I'm all over the place. But like, wait, what is it? What did he say? Ladies, you have to first off control the like frame. You have to agree that you guys are on the same page and that he is agreeing to court you, and you have to let him. And if he's doing that, you have to do it at a slow pace. A man has to work towards progressing the relationship. You just don't give it to him because you're on 4 or 5 dates. He has to work on progressing it. And if you're in a situation right now where you're like, okay, Elliot, but he's not even doing that, then you gotta let it go. You gotta rip up the contract. You sticking around is the problem. That's why he's not doing it. There's no consequence to your actions. Just like I talk in all my other videos and stuff like that. I'm not gonna repeat myself because I'm probably gonna make a video on it tomorrow. But you need to talk to a guy who is willing to invest in you consistently over time. If he's taking you for granted and he's sporadic and he's, there's all these hiccups, you're not about it. you got to let him know, right? Without structure, there's chaos. You got to let him know. There has to be boundaries. If he's agreeing to the frame of a relationship and he's showing you otherwise, you need to be like, bro, is this really how you treat someone you want? You said you want a relationship. Is this really what you do? And again, and I'm not saying say that to him, but you got to have that vibe. You got to have that pep in your step. You know, you got to say it with your chest type of thing. And he's going to give you the answer you want. It's going to be like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry, I'll try again, whatever, which I'd be very hesitant on that. Or he's going to tell you the truth. I'm just not, again, whatever it is, it is what it is. You got intel, you need to make the right decision with it, okay? So if you want a session with yours truly, link is down below. If you want to work with me, get my guides, I have all my guides down below that talk about all this kind of stuff and more, power dynamics, how to get a guy to choose you, and which I know sounds very pick-me, but how to hook a guy, basically. I have all these guides down below. Ladies, I love you all. Take care, and peace.